Hey guys, and welcome back to Her Revision Podcast, the podcast for women who are rewriting the stories that they told themselves and that the world tells them. And today we're getting back into something that I don't know if I've talked about really in depth, but that I'm going through right now, and that is dating. More specifically, that little in-between feeling of stepping back into dating. That stage where you've been through enough to know that you want something different, something better, but you still have those lingering doubts, because I definitely have been having them. So I want to get into that. I'm going to be real with y'all. I want to date. I missed the connection. I missed the romance. I missed the friendship, the companionship, the love. I miss that. But I also want to make sure that this time I do it right. Not perfect, because come on now, it's not going to happen, right? But intentional. I want to be intentional this time around. And that in itself means that I need to revise my approach to dating and rethink how I show up for myself and how I also open up to the possibility of a partner while respecting my boundaries and what I want out of love. I want to be able to set my boundaries in a way that protects my peace, but also allows me to be open to love. So if you've ever been there, wanting to experience dating again, wanting to experience love again, but scared about repeating the same mistakes, this episode is for you. First things first, let's talk about that feeling of knowing that you want to date again, but scared to admit it, scared to actually be like, you know what, I'm ready to get back on that horse. It's a scary thing. I've been so nervous to even admit that to myself because of past situations. After you've gone through some messy situations or some situationships or, just relationships that just did not serve you, you get scared to even trust yourself to do it right the next time. Trust yourself to do it right again. Like you get scared of that thought that it could work out, right? It's like a little voice in my head that sometimes be like, girl, is you sure you want to do that again? Is you sure that it could work out? You sure you're not going to repeat the same mistakes? You sure you're not going to allow the same mess to enter into the next relationship or talking stage? I've thought that thought a little too many times for my liking, right? But here's the thing. I don't want to fear that thought. I don't want fear to dictate my choices when it comes to dating. It is human for me to crave connection. It is human for me to want love. I believe that God intended for there to be a helpmate on both regards, right? So to want to date again doesn't make you foolish or desperate or weak. And that's something that I have to remind myself of over and over again. It is okay to want it. No matter how many times it's messed up in the past, it's okay to want it again. And just because I've made mistakes in the past or I've settled for less than I deserve does not make me foolish for wanting it to work out again for me or wanting to experience love in a healthier way. It also doesn't mean that I'm doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. That if I try again, that it's gonna fail because it's already failed a few times. Why wouldn't it not fail this time? That doesn't mean that. I have been realizing I have to let myself live. I have to let myself experience new things and to try again. And I'm working through that now, just allowing myself grace to know that if it could be so for someone else, allow myself to feel that. Allow myself to be okay with the fact that I can try again and this time it could work for me. Now here's where it gets tricky. If you're anything like me, you are somebody who definitely does look back at past relationships and past mistakes that you've made and pinpointed all the red flags that you missed. I do it so often where my mind will drift back to like certain random moments in past relationships, and I've been like dang girl, it was right in your face. You could have ended it then, but you didn't. It was right there. My mind has went to those moments time and time again. It's like your brain will allow, when you've been through too much stuff in relationships, your brain will allow you to remember every time that you were breadcrumb, that you allowed it, when you were quick to give and slow to ask for what you wanted, all of the inconsistent moments, all of the miscommunication, all of the communication that you did not want, all of it, your brain allows you to remember it. And what I've realized is that those were the moments that it was easy for me to pinpoint all the ways that I messed up. Like, dang, if you would have just not allowed that, if you would have just said no, if you would have checked that situation as soon as it happened, my brain will allow me to think about all the times that I potentially allowed things that I shouldn't have. What I'm learning is, and this is a hard pill to swallow, but if this situation resonates with you, I know that you're learning it too. Self-blame is not growth. Blaming yourself for past mistakes or past decisions or past incidents that occurred is not growth. You're not growing because you have to hold yourself accountable for the things that you did wrong or remember the times that's not growth. To me, growth now, and don't get me wrong, I've had to rewrite what I deemed as growth. Now I'm realizing that growth to me is acknowledging where I messed up and what I allowed, but also giving myself grace enough to know that I did the best I could with what I knew back then. I did the best I could with all that I had learned up until that moment. A lot of the times we make mistakes or we allow things because we've never been in that situation before, or we are yearning for something that we haven't fully healed from. I have to give myself grace to know that where I was at that moment is all that I knew. At that point, it was all that I could comprehend, and that's okay. The boundaries that I'm trying to establish now, I didn't have them back then. The clarity that I'm working on maintaining, the discernment that I am avidly trying to exercise, I did not have that then, and that's okay. I'm realizing that I really cannot. There's no way for you to move forward. There's no way for you to truly embrace better if you keep reminding yourself of past mistakes and things that you've done wrong. And that's not to say that you're ignoring everything that happened in the past, because I do think it's crazy. It's something that my history teacher, this is so random, my history teacher used to tell me all the time when I was in the 8th grade, if you don't remember your history, you're destined to repeat it. And of course I applied it to like slavery, racism, etc., etc. But no, nothing truer has ever been said. If you don't remember where you came from, if you don't remember what has happened to you, if you don't remember things that have occurred in your life or the decisions that you made, it is a high chance that you will repeat them because you're not learning from anything, right? But instead of focusing on the history itself, I'm going to focus on shifting my mindset. Instead of focusing on why did I allow that to happen, I'm going to focus on what can I do differently this time? Because why did I allow that to happen focuses on the past. It leaves you stuck there. But what can I do differently this time is advising you to embrace growth, embrace change, embrace clarity and discernment. Now, y'all know I've talked about boundaries a lot. And that's because I'm really, really trying to get it right this time. Boundaries have always been something that I struggled with, and I'm really trying to do better at making sure that I prioritize what works for me, that I prioritize my mental health and my well-being over constantly putting others' needs and their wants and their expectations above my own. In the past, I'm not gonna lie, I've let too much slide, y'all. I've been too quick to compromise in the past. I've been too quick to try to explain someone else's bad behavior or reason with why they could have overstepped my boundaries or done something to me that wouldn't have been something that I did to them, or whatever the case may be. I've been too quick to rationalize and overstep to what I deserved, right? I fell into this trap of, well, at least he's showing up for me, or I shouldn't ask for too much. This is a lot better than the last situation. Or I fell into the trap of excuses for someone else's actions. But I promise you, not this time. Not this time. I can't do it anymore, right? This time I'm clear about what I want. I'm clear that I want consistency. I'm clear that I want effort. I'm clear that I want someone who genuinely wants to be in a relationship and not just in my life for convenience, not just around me because it checks a box or something of that sort. And I know that those boundaries are how I protect myself from falling into patterns that I've done in the past. If someone is inconsistent from the jump, if you hear from him every now and again or whatever the case may be, that's something I'm not about to explain away immediately. No, what I desire is consistency. And that doesn't mean that everybody will have the same consistency level as you, or they will communicate the same way as you, but you find what works best for you. You don't try to fit somebody into a box that they just don't fit in. If they're breadcrumbing me, giving me a little bit just to make me stay, doing just enough so that I won't call it quits, it's not gonna work for me, right? I'm not gonna try to rationalize that by saying, oh, well, maybe he's busy, because I think that there is a thin line between, accepting that you're not being anxious and because somebody hasn't talked to you in a couple hours, that means they don't like you, but also knowing the difference between if somebody hasn't talked to you for a few days, you may just be a convenience. It may just be convenient to talk to you. That is my boundary. I'm learning the difference between the two, right? But I'm also realizing that there is a thin line between being too cautious, but also being so closed off that you don't allow yourself to experience something new. Because the truth is that we can't control everything. I can't control everything. I can't control every action. I can't control the outcome of something. I can't. Dating, if I'm realizing anything, is always going to come with some level of uncertainty. Even with setting boundaries, even with having a certain level of discernment, there is always going to be a possibility that you may get hurt just for being vulnerable, and you have to be okay with that. But how do you navigate that, right? How do you navigate being able to be vulnerable with the possibility of it just not working the next time, even if you do all the right things, even if you set all the right boundaries and you say all the right things? How do you navigate the possibility of the thing, right? Allow yourself to be human. That's number one, that I'm trying to realize I am not perfect. I am not a robot. I cannot force myself to be this standard or level of perfection when it comes to dating, because it's unrealistic. That means that you show up as yourself. You show up as your authentic self. Be clear about what you want, but be mindful that every interaction does not need to be perfect. I can't be as focused on protecting myself as I am about being open enough to get to know somebody new, right? When you're so focused on protecting yourself, every interaction with this person that possibly doesn't look like your fairy tale ending, you'll sabotage it. And I've done it before, so that's why I know that is the truth. I've allowed my mind to be like, oh, well, he said this, or he did this, and this... That's not really what I want. That's not aligned with what I ideally think my perfect relationship is going to be like. So I'll close myself off, or I'll try to exit stage left before he's able to. You have to allow yourself time, in that other person, time to be vulnerable. Yes, I've had bad experiences. Yes, it may not have worked in the past when you thought it might have. But I can still have good ones too. I can still have good experiences. I think the biggest part about this whole journey is allowing myself the opportunity to rewrite my narrative around dating. I just recently reached out to my close friend, Asia, and I was telling her, I'm like, girl, I think that I'm ready to start dating again. It's been a minute, y'all. Don't get me wrong. I've had some things happen in my life that has made me shy away from that cold turkey. I just don't want to do it, right? But I think that I'm ready to dip my foot back in the pool. in the water, in the whatever. I'm ready to start again. So I told her, like, hey, I need your help though. And that's another thing, like being vulnerable with your community, because a lot of the times when you're scared about, dating again or trying again with somebody new or just new, experiences, you get embarrassed of all the failed attempts and I've been embarrassed so many times with situations that I thought would work out and that just didn't, and then having to go back around my friends and my family that I might have talked to about these relationships or these men and it not working out. That's embarrassing. Hello. I don't want to tell y'all that it failed. I don't want to talk about what happened. I don't want you to nitpick the decisions or the actions or the things I allowed or the things that I should have not been so anal about. Whatever the case, I don't want to talk about that with y'all because it didn't work out. That's embarrassing. But also being vulnerable enough to know that you're trying to get it right this time around. So let your people in. You never know what fresh perspective you may need to hear. So I told her, I'm like, you know what? I think I want to get back on Hinge. And y'all know about Hinge. Yeah. If you done Hinge, you know. If you know, you know. But I'm like, you know what? I think I want to try. Even if it, I don't find my husband on there, at least allow myself the opportunity to not be so closed off, not be so scared. This could be the catalyst to something, even if it's figuring out a little bit more of my wants and my needs when it comes to new partners. You just never know what road certain actions can lead to. So why not just be fearless and try it? So I said, listen, I'm going to need your help though, because I know that setting boundaries is something that I really want to do. So I need you to help me make the best profile ever. Like with all the new things that I know I want and I need within a partner, I want to curate the most authentic profile for myself, right? Not trying to be nothing, not trying to strive for perfection. I just want to be authentic. She's like, oh girl, I got you. So we are going to be making me a hint. I'll let y'all know how I make out on whatever next episode that I talk about dating on. But y'all, I'm scared. Yeah, I'm scared, but I'm also like, you put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. What is the worst that can happen? I mean, you've already experienced bad relationships, baby. It's really, try. Just try. Because I'm not the same woman that I was when I made poor decisions and, I ignored red flags. I'm not that same woman. I've grown. I'm still growing. I'm still getting clarity. I'm still discerning people. I'm still healing from things, and that'll be an ongoing process. But as long as I don't stop with that, as long as I keep striving to be a better me and make better decisions, I'll be okay. And the most exciting part is that now I'll be able to approach dating from a new perspective. It won't be with the same, bad patterns and habits that I had before, or with the ones that I wasn't too sure about, or I was shaky in, or that anxious attachment style. It won't be with that because I know better now. So when you know better, you do better. It'll be different this time. That sounds overly funny. That sounds overly optimistic. And then I feel like in a movie, this would be the one moment where it'd be like, it'll be different this time. Flash to the scene where everything goes to shit. No, but on a serious note, it will. And not to say that means that it may not work out with somebody, but it will be different this time just means that I am going to go into this with a fresh new set of eyes, with a fresh new perspective, with another outlook on dating and my boundaries and what I want. And that's refreshing. That's exciting to me. Lastly, I want to leave y'all with this. Trust the process. Trust the process. Whether you are deciding that you want to dip your foot back into the pool or you're taking time to heal, move at your own pace. Don't rush yourself because of what others may be going through or whoever else around your circle or your community is in a relationship or you're yearning for some. Don't rush yourself, because when you rush yourself, that clarity and that discernment that you need may not fully be developed yet. There may be things that you still need to learn. There may be a realization that just hasn't come yet. You never know, but just move at the pace that works best for you. You don't have to rush, but you also don't have to stay stuck in fear. If fear is your motivator, if fear is the reason why you're either deciding to take time to yourself to heal, or I'm scared to be alone, so I'm just going to rush back into dating. If that is your motivator, you may just need a little bit more time to cultivate that fresh new perspective, because you don't want to go into this with fear or anxiousness or worry on your heart, whether that means that you're taking more time to heal or you're ready to get back out there. Don't let those be your motivators, your navigators. This is supposed to be fresh. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be new. Trust that all the work that you've done, all the behaviors that you've been learning and unlearning, trust that they have been working and that they will guide you. Trust that the boundaries that you've been setting will protect you, as well as be flexible just enough to allow you to be open to love. Not flexible enough for you to get hurt. If you don't like it and you're not with it, you're not for it, it's something that you know is a non-negotiable, do not flex that boundary, sis. But don't be so rigid to the fact that you think everything has to be this or nothing at all. Just find that balance. And if you need help, ask. You can ask me. Although, y'all know. Ask your close friends and family. Ask your therapist. Just make sure that you're not moving out of fear of failure. So in conclusion, that's where I am with dating. Somewhere between ready and a little hesitant, but also cautious, but open, right? There's that balance. It's okay to be a little nervous. It's okay. But also, I'm excited. I'm going to figure it out as I go. I don't have to have the perfect plan, because when God hears your plan, he's probably laughing, or however that saying goes. You just never know. But the most important thing is that I am showing up for myself first, and I'm giving myself grace while I'm on this new journey to just be gentle with me, because I deserve that. If you're in a similar place as I am, just know that you deserve love. You deserve love, and love is going to find you. Even if you've been through some things before, just know that you're not alone and you are deserving. The key is being able to revise your approach, loving yourself through it all, and just know that when the right person finds you, it's going to be real grown love. No breadcrumbing, no games, none of that. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching me on YouTube. And don't forget to rate the podcast if you are listening to me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you're streaming. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter, y'all. I really get a little bit vulnerable there. It's more like a diary entry in a family. You can also email me straight from the email from the newsletter. Ask me any questions. Come to me with whatever is on your brain, and you might get featured into the next episode. Anyways, until next time, bye.